Hello again and welcome to the channel. So for today's video, we're going to look on first of the Dominaria United draft strategies and what will be my inputs, and I'm going to share to you guys what I think would be the good way in drafting this new set. So this is screenshots from my good friend and card pool mate Ace. So he took a premier draft for Dominaria United. Last night he streamed it on his channel. So we're going to take a look on what he did for his draft, for basically his second draft, in going with a 7-2 record also for this build. So you can see here the first probably pack 1, pick 7 of this pick for this draft. He already choose red and white as his primary colors, and at the same time he added some of the non-basic dual lands for in support of the possible of domain cards that can be benefiting from these basic land types. So you can see here we have enough Radha's Firebrand, already a very strong 2-drop in a sense that it can basically get on early damage because it can have a defending player that controls with a creature with power less than her that can't be blocked this turn, and at the same time she has this domain ability wherein she can get +2/+2 until end of turn, and at the same time it will cost less for each of the domain or the basic land types among the lands you control. So we go with it as we go with pack 1, pick 7 already. So Radha is already included along with some 3-drops and some 2 casting cost spells along with Fires of Victory and Fixing. Now we move forward to the next on this video. It is already, this one is pack 2, pick 9. So as you can see here, she's clearly established with the red and white colors with a few 2-drops, 3-drops, some good source for kicker cards, some late game Defiler of Fate, Soryabima Sojourner. This is the domain casting 3 folk, where this benefits cost less for each of the basic land types you control, and then he's also going to pick this one, the Citizen's Arrest, which is an addition to his removal lineup. So exile target creature or planeswalker upon controls until Citizen's Arrest leaves the battlefield. So this is one of the effective opponents, since he's still sticking with the red and white, so the double white mana cost would not really affect how we would set up this removal, as long as you get to really curve out with these 2-drops and have these spot removals or any of these pump spells benefit him on this setup. Now for the next, we have already in pick 1 for the third pack, he chose this Llanowar Green Widow. It's not really its colors, but since of its ability that it is 4/3/4/3 and reach and trample with the domain ability that has, you may return it from the battlefield tap. It gains if this permanent will leave the field, exile it instead, and it will cost less to activate for each basic land type among lands you control. So basically, it can return out of battlefield. It is a good 3-drop by itself because of the 4 power and also reach, which you can block off any other flying nuisance that the opponents may play, and at the same time you can be able to return it to battlefield at the end of at any time because of its domain ability. So he chose this. So basically he went with the third color of green to splash for his setup, and since we only need some fixing or mana lands or the dual lands to fix out his mana, he would really rely on having green as a sort of a mana fix for this build. So you can see here there's still special spot removals here, some 2-drops. It's consistent with 5 2-drops already, and also Cure Beast Color. As you can recall, this card, whenever you cast a creature spell, put a counter on it, and then whenever it dies, you distribute those number of counters on any number of target creatures you control. So it is a very good 2-drop, but not really if you're going with the red and white. You might have the chance that you will miss it on your second draw because it is only your third color splash. But nevertheless, he included this in a way that you can still have maximized for your 2-drops and 3-drops and have just the dual lands to fix your mana for you. I think he also picked Carpulus and Paris this time, so he still have an untapped mana source for green that can basically benefit to have this on your second turn. So you can also notice here some of the 3 drops, some strike team which are good for kicker, some battle hymn, also a removal, and some pump spells, and also Defiler of Fate for the late game. So the final line up here, as he drop it and do the fix, these are the cards that he removed from the setup. He balanced the creatures and the spot removals. If you are familiar with some guides during the draft or you're during sealed for your pre-release decks, you can see that they are mentioning the number of lands, and aside from that, the number of removals to include, or spells to have, that at least 7 to 8, and then the rest will be creatures, with a total of 23 for the non-land cards. And then you just do the fixing of the mana in the 70 mana or 16 if needed, if you are going to go with a lower curve for the build, for instance, that you have like that example. So you can see here, Phoenix Chick, the 1 drop, you have 2 Artillery Blast. This is Domain spot removal for the stop feature. Some of the Destroy Evil, as this one, you can see here, you can destroy enchantment or creature with 4 toughness or greater. Some 2 drops, this is Reinforcement, also pump spell. Fires of Victory, this is the Rakdos Firebrand, and then 2 of these 2 drops were also added, and the rest are just removals. The Charismatic Vanguard for 3 drops, some flyers also, Keldon Strike Team for the 5 mana kick, and Heroic Charge, and Green Widow. Green Widow also was mentioned earlier, it was added on this lineup for 3 mana sword. So as I proceed for the rest of this gameplay, as scan through his matchup, he went 7-2, but most of his game was purely going to go aggro. Rakdos Firebrand was a superstar in those matchup because basically can just pump out and have those blockers can't block, and just he just kill those who are bigger, probably bigger than Tadra. He just use Destroy Evil, he can citizens arrest them, and also at the same time he can use pump spells to deal extra damage or to do combat tricks against those creatures. And some mini combo, if you may say, we have Keldon Strike Team. So whenever you kick this card, you can basically have extra mana. If you have extra mana, you can have Phoenix Chick from your graveyard return, as can basically trigger this. The kick Keldon Strike Team can trigger Phoenix 6 ability that can return to the battlefield from your graveyard if you control 3 or more attacking creatures. So overall, Boros can be a good draft strategy, provided that you can have enough firepower to deal with the long term and maybe for the big creatures that your opponents can cast. At the same time, you can just basically have more of the cards that can basically retain in the late game, and if needed, you would need to splash cards, such as having green on this one for your domain spells and effects. You can basically a good choice, since there are a lot of dual lands that can do a fix for you, and at the same time have those mana domain effects benefit all of these cards. So that's about it. That is your Boros deck draft strategy for Dominaria United setup. If you have no more questions, you can just PM me or comment on this video for our further deck discussion and other cards that you might have in your experience of drafting this new set. So that's about it. Thank you for checking in this video, and until the next time.